their entire career fighting for the rights of workers, particularly in the area of fair wages, safe working conditions, and equal opportunities for all of us. As Oregon's Labor Commissioner, Christina Stephenson is committed to ensuring that all workers in the state have access to the protections and benefits that they need to thrive. With her background, she is a powerful voice for workers and a key partner in AFSCME's efforts to promote social justice and equality in the workplace. Please give a warm welcome to Commissioner Stephenson.
Hello, and thank you for having me today. And Percy, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Thank you. So as you heard, my name's Christina Stephenson, and I am your Commissioner of the Bureau of Labor and Industries. And as some of you have just heard, I've spent my whole career working on behalf of Oregon's working people. And prior to assuming office, I had a small business, and that was a law firm where I represented workers who were getting a raw deal when their employers were not following the rules that are enshrined by the Bureau of Labor and Industries. So over the years, I've had the opportunity to help hundreds of everyday Oregonians navigate the system to make it work the way it's supposed to, and not for those special interests Percy just talked about. So this includes deputies that were demoted for calling out sexual harassment and abuse of power. This includes healthcare workers fired for blowing the whistle on unsafe patient care, childcare workers retaliated against for taking protected medical leave, and behavioral health care workers discriminated against for their sexual orientation. So all of this is just to say that I have been paying close attention to what it's like to work in Oregon. And I ran for office because I just believe that Oregon should be the best place to live and work in this country. And so to me, that means that every Oregonian has access to a family wage job with good benefits and time to care for their families. It means that workers have access to safe, discrimination and harassment-free work environments, and that Oregon has the workforce it needs to propel us into the future, a climate-resilient future, by taking our homegrown talent and keeping it here. So the Bureau of Labor and Industries exists to ensure that Oregon jobs are good jobs, jobs where workers get paid what they're owed and they work in discrimination-free work environments. And I want to ensure that BOLI becomes the strong agency that Oregonians deserve. So Oregonians deserve to have their claims and complaints investigated promptly and thoroughly. No one should have to wait months or sometimes years for a determination. And when substantiated complaints lead to nothing more than a slap on the wrist, that is equally unacceptable. And unfortunately, we know that for too long, this has often been the case. So I've been on the job for a few months now, and what is clear is we need more staff, and we need better processes to meet the ever-growing demands on this agency. So to give you a sense of what we're dealing with, between 2021 and 2022, the wage and hour division saw a 73% increase in the number of wage claims received. Okay, so this means that an extra 1,400 Oregonians came to the agency saying that they believed that their employer had not paid them. And so when wage and hour complaints are delayed, we know this could mean the difference between someone making rent and not making rent, right? Adding to our already growing houseless crisis. The Civil Rights Division is also experiencing a backlog of 1,300 civil rights cases, including race and gender-based discrimination, We know that civil rights cases become more difficult to properly investigate the longer time passes. Currently, some employees are waiting 6 months after they file a discrimination claim prior to being assigned an investigator. So this can mean that employees are either staying in a work environment that is unlawful, experiencing more harm as a result, or they're leaving that place of employment and sometimes the workforce altogether. Oregon cannot afford these delays. But how do we get here? The reality is that BOLI has fewer people than in many of its divisions than it did in the 90s. And of course, Oregon's only gotten bigger since that time. So in the wage and hour division, for example, we have just one investigator for every 100,000 workers in Oregon. Yeah, so what this means is BOLI is constantly behind. But this is the good news. My administration has hit the ground running to address these backlogs. Last month, we shared with the legislature the depth of the challenges that BOLI is facing. We're asking the legislature to invest in the critical infrastructure of this agency, the people who work there. We need more investigators, we need more mediators, we need more support staff to keep our head above water. But of course, this is more than about staff. It's also about how we approach the work of the agency, which is why we're taking a strategic enforcement approach. Okay, so strategic enforcement is a model that contemplates exactly the situation we're in, and it gives us the tools to actually be more effective. So at BOLI, we need to be prioritizing repeat offenders, repeat violations, such as not paying overtime, not paying the agreed rate of pay. A strategic enforcement approach asks, where is the most harm being done? Who is doing it? And what are the structures that are incentivizing it? What are the structures that are perpetuating this harm? And how can we impact an entire industry and deter future violations before they occur? So our aim is to send a strong message. If you're taking advantage of our most vulnerable workers, if you're using wage theft as your business model, you are BOLI's #1 priority. Through strong enforcement, we are going to be able to change unlawful behaviors in a lasting and systemic way. So sometimes it can be hard to see the forest for the trees, but we are all, everyone in this room, we are working towards the same goal of making Oregon a great place to live and work. And we know, unions set standards that help uplift workers' rights for all Oregonians. Unions help shrink the race and wage gap, the racial wage and gender gap. And critically, we at BOLI rely on unions because what we see is that folks that are represented, like folks at AFSCME, they are empowered to report violations, reports on which we rely to enforce our workplace laws. And advocates in this room have been working tirelessly to pass laws that protect workers. And you all deserve to feel the impact of those hard-fought wins. You deserve to have someone enforcing the protections you fought so hard for. As your labor commissioner, that is my promise to you. I will do everything in my power to even the playing field. I will employ all the tools available to strengthen our small but mighty agency, and I will pursue the vision of Oregon that I know we all share. Thank you.